Assalamu alaikum everyone. Today's lecture is meant for second semester students. The poem of Nisim Ezekiel, which we will take up for a detailed analysis, is called Enterprise. Nisim Ezekiel. Nisim Ezekiel is one of the most distinguished contemporary Indian poets in English. He describes the happenings of his own life very frequently. His poetry demonstrates his personal images, symbols, his feelings towards his friends and fellow human beings, the cultural ethos, and the heritage of India. Nisim Ezekiel was born in 1924 in Bombay of Jewish Bani Israel parents. Nisim Ezekiel has published many collections of verse: A Time to Change, 60 Poems, The Third, The Unfinished Man, The Exact Name, The Bad Day, The Deadly Man are some of them. Nisim Ezekiel's poetry has all the elements of love, loneliness, lust, and creativity. Nisim Ezekiel was awarded Sahitya Academy in 1983. He was also honored with Padma Shri Award by the President of India in 1988. He passed away in 2004 in Mumbai. Now let us move towards the poem. Enterprise it means something new, something difficult that one does or tries to do. Enterprise is one of the finest lyrics of Nisim Ezekiel, appeared in the volume The Unfinished Man, containing 10 brilliantly and beautifully written poems in 1959. Enterprise is a confessional poem. Confessional poem is highly personal poem. Confessional poetry deals with the subject matter that previously had not openly discussed, that previously had not been openly discussed. Confessional poetry, this style of writing emerged in the late 1950s and early 1960s, associated with the poet Sylvia Plath and Anne Sexton. In this poem, in Enterprise, the poet generalizes his own feelings of frustration, loss, and deprivation in the world. Enterprise has become a metaphor, a symbol, or an allegory of the human conditions on earth. The poet Nisim Ezekiel describes symbolically the frequent efforts, failures, and frustrations that man has to experience on earth. Now I will read the poem for you, Enterprise. It started as a pilgrimage, exalting minds and making all the burdens light the second stage. Explode but didn't test the call, the sun beat down to match our rage. We stood it very well, I thought, observed and put down copious notes on things the peasants sold and bought, the way of serpents and of goats, 3 steeds where a sage had taught. But when the differences arose on how to cross a desert patch, we lost a friend whose stylish prose was quite the best of all our batch. A shadow falls on us and grows. Another phase was reached when we were twice attacked and lost our way. A section claimed its liberty. To leave the group I tried to pray. Our leader said he smelled the sea. We noticed nothing as we went, straggling crowd of little hope, ignoring what the thunder meant, deprived of common needs like soap. Some were broken, some merely bent. When finally we reached the place, we hardly knew why we were there. The trip had darkened every face. Our deeds were neither great nor rare. Home is where we have to gather grace. The poem starts with a holy journey, with a pilgrimage. A number of people, including the poet, start on a pilgrimage. They begin with courage, determination, hope, and self confidence. They are full of noble ideas and ideals, and they hope to reach their destination of noble achievements. It started as a pilgrimage, exalting minds and making all the burdens light. The second stage explode, but did not test the call. The sun beat down to match our rage. The pilgrimage, this holy journey, it has become a trick. The first stage in the journey symbolizes childlike innocence, when man is entirely unconscious of his predicament with all its miseries and frustrations. But soon the stage of bliss and innocence passes away, and the pilgrims have to confront dangers and difficulties. Their idealism is untested by the bitter experiences of daily life. Their rage, their passion for their mission is as hot as the hot sun above their head. The sun beat down to match our rage. Now, the second stanza. We stood it very well, I thought, observed and put down copious notes on things the peasants sold and bought, the way of serpents, of goats, three steeds where a sage had taught. The pilgrims are able to put up very well with dangers and difficulties for some time. They hopefully march on taking down copious notes of what they observe. Copious notes, it means they kept a record of the events that they witnessed. The trivial events like the goods being bought and sold by the peasants, the ways of serpents and the goods. And then they pass it through three stees where a sage had taught. Three stees, it is here having the symbolical significance. The three stees basically are the three different stages of life. The first stage, that is the stage of innocence, that is childhood period. Then the second stage, that is the stage of vigor, stage of power, stage of strength and vitality. Then there is the third phase, which is the phase of darkness. That is the phase of old age. This is the stage of old age, when a person is completely, he is weak, he is feeble, he is not able, even he is dependent. It is the stage of helplessness, and it is the stage of weakness. Now the third stanza. But when the differences arose on how to cross a desert patch, we lost a friend whose stylish prose was quite the best of all our batch. A shadow falls on us and grows. Here, the idealism of these pilgrims who are on this holy journey, who embarked on a very sacred mission, on a very sacred pilgrimage, their idealism and their single mindedness of purpose soon vanish. There are cracks in their unity. They show their differences of opinions and they quarrel over trivial matters. They cannot unanimously decide how to cross a desert patch. One of their companions, whose stylish prose was quite the best of all our batch, leaves them angrily. The shadow of discord and disunity falls on their enterprise, and it begins to grow. A shadow falls on us and grows. Another phase was reached when we were twice attacked and lost our way. A section claimed its liberty. To leave the group, I tried to pray. Our leader said he smelled the sea. Their differences and disunity reach another stage. They forget their noble ideals, which inspired them for this enterprise. Now they are divided into groups. Each group attacks the other. They are in complete confusion. They are not ready to show their power, to show their vigor, to show their rage and passion in that voyage anymore. Now, fourth stanza. A section claimed its liberty. To leave the group, I tried to pray. Our leader said, the sea. Here, they lose their way. A section claimed its liberty to leave the group. They fail to face the hard realities of life and take refuge in escape and withdrawal. Some, like the poet, try to pray in such critical times to seek divine assistance and blessings. Their leader feels that he smelt the salt. Smelt the salt here means that he feels that they have reached a dead end and must go back and their enterprise must end. Now, the fifth stanza. We noticed nothing as we went, a straggling crowd of little hope, ignoring what the thunder meant, deprived of common needs like soap. Some were broken, some merely bent. Here, it seemed as if all the pilgrimages they have turned into aimless wanderers now, instead of being bounded by a well-focused goal like before. Still, they persist, but their enterprise has lost its significance due to their discord, due to their disunity. They are no more a disciplined group of idealists, but only a struggling crowd of a few defeated, of a few tired, hopeless, helpless survivors. They are dirty and shabby. They are broken in spirit and bent down physically. And some of them are exhausted. They are so exhausted as if they are not ready to carry on their mission, to go on this holy journey. Now, the last stanza, when finally reached the place we hardly knew why we were there. The trip had darkened every face. Our deeds were neither great nor rare. Home is where we have to gather grace. Home is where we have to gather grace. The end of all human enterprises is miserable. This is the essential truth of life. They are aimless, absorbed in their petty quarrels, and tired and exhausted, frustrated and at bay. It seemed as if there is the symbols are there, the symbols symbolic of spiritual regeneration, and even if they do so, they ignore it. Nisim Ezekiel, he stresses the extreme hopelessness of man at the end of life's journey. There is sorrow and suffering on every face. Disillusionment pervades all. All hopes of inner illumination on spiritual regeneration are lost. All pilgrims are in disillusionment. Their disillusionment is total. They even doubt the very worth significance of their journey. It seems to them to have been futile and meaningless. Here, the last line is very important, that is, home is where we have to gather grace. Home is where we have to earn our grace. The last line, it contains the moral of the poem. The poet suggests that all efforts to escape from life's realities are futile. He must gracefully accept the limitations of our worldly existence and should strive to do our best without those limitations. The purpose of human life is to accept heroically our lot, our destiny in life, and to do our best to earn grace by serving God and humanity. You know, every person is having a purpose of life, but the reality of this modern world is that we lack the real purpose of our life. The need is to realize, to recognize that spiritual purpose of our life, and we need to establish a kind of a constant relation with the Almighty. As we all know, due to the busy schedule of our life, we have lost touch with our inner self. We have lost touch with the Almighty, and it is only the home. Home is where we have to gather grace. It is that home. He is not talking about the home in which we live on this world, but he is talking about that home which we are going to enter after death. That home is where we have to gather grace. Whatever the difficulties, the struggles, whatever the, we can say, the efforts we have made on this world are going to give us that grace in that very world which we are going to enter after our death. And that very world is eternal world. That world is not going to an end. That world will remain forever. And this world, it is a transitory world. It is a changing world. It will come to an end. And here ends the poem. The Enterprise poem, let us have a look on its the critical perspective. There is a line in the third line of stanza 5, that is ignoring what the thunder meant. Here the group, these persons who are accompanying the poet in that holy mission, in that holy journey, they ignore the thunder, which is nothing but the inner voice of man. It should have guided the group. Man deprived of the inner voice or insensitive to the call of his own soul invariably rushes into impediments. At the end of the journey, there is complete disillusionment. Was the journey worth undertaking? Instead of bringing any sense of fulfillment, the trip had only darkened every soul. Home is where we have to gather grace. Nisim Ezekiel's philosophy moved from darkness to light. Hence, this enterprise was meaningful, isn't it? But the modern man is simply misfit for noble missions. The reason is, if we scan through the pages of history, we will find that we have lost touch with our inner self, with our inner conscience, with the prime mover of this world. And the result is this disillusionment, this chaos, and this confusion. We need to develop that relation which we have lost with the ultimate reality, with the prime mover of this world. It was all for today. Inshallah, in the next lecture, we will come to with another poem. Till then, Allah Hafiz.